Okay, so tell me your name.
John Pat Locklear. I was
And-
born in 1939.
And
Born right here in the Prospect community.
what hospital were you born in?
Or
were you born
I was born at home,
Okay. And what community did you grow up in?
Prospect community,
Okay.
right along the long swamp.
Which is now Preston Road.
Yeah, which is Preston Road. In fact, that's the church I grew up in. I'm still going there at Preston Gospel Chapel.
Who were your parents?
My parents were Emily Locklear and John Locklear.
And when were they born? You don't know when they were born?
No, I don't know when they were born.
Who were their parents?
Okay, Mama's parents were Patrick Locklear and Rosalie Locklear. Daddy's parents were Cleveland Locklear and Nancy Chavis Locklear.
Okay. And you mentioned you went to Preston Gospel Chapel.
Yes.
Okay. What was it like going to church there?
Well, when I was a little boy, there weren't but very few. We had a pot-bellied stove for heat. Sometimes in the winter, when it was real cold, we wouldn't have church during the week. We would have church always on Sunday, though. It was a one-room building. Like I say, very few people.
And now when you say
Windows had the screens. There's no glass. Just screen windows.
when you say very few people, how many are you talking about? A dozen, maybe two dozen?
Maybe 3 dozen. Yeah, maybe 3 dozen. 36 people or so.
And you mentioned going during the week. What were the regular church?
Well, during the week, when we had weekly meetings, we'd have our Bible study on Friday night, and then of course we'd have church on Sunday. We'd have Sunday school on Sunday morning, 9:30. We'd have the breaking of bread about 11 o'clock, and then we'd have a gospel meeting Sunday night, usually about 6 o'clock. Another thing we would do in the winter, when it was real cold, instead of having our Bible study at church, we would go around to homes in the community where people's house was already warm. We didn't have to build a fire at church. We'd go to their house and have our Bible study. Different places, like would go. I remember going to Uncle Harrington's. We'd go to Alex Sanderson's house. I remember him. Then we'd go to a man called Bud Jones. We'd go to his house for Bible study.
Now, did y'all did y'all have a car growing up? Was all this traveling done? How was all this traveling done?
I always remember us having a truck.
Okay.
My granddaddy had I believe it was an A model Ford. He was the first man in this community that I know of that had a car, other than the preacher, Brother Venus Brooks. He lived in Pembroke, but he would come up on Sunday and he would drive a car. And I remember one thing about that car is we had to hand crank it. There's a hand crank in the front. You go down and grab it and turn it a couple of times and it would start up, and that was his car.
Now, these were all dirt roads, the Prospect community, as far as how far out did you have to go in town before you would get to any paved roads?
Okay, to my knowledge, 74 was paved. That's the only road that I remember being paved
So even
when I was a little more.
Maxton and Pembroke, when you got it even in town there, those were dirt
Oh,
roads.
no. In town, they were paved.
Okay.
Like, we'd go to Red Springs quite a few times a year to buy groceries, and I remember those roads being paved. But out in the county, all these roads, Preston Road, Hezekiah Road, Red Bank Road, all those were dirt
And
roads.
the route